Praises to the Most High. We just want to step in here just for a moment to talk about this Tim Black show. We're going to show you some things that well, let me just play it right quick just to preview what we're going to be what stirred up the conversation here that I'm gonna bring to you. I'm gonna talk about the civics, the civics of a U.S. citizen, and who is a U.S. citizen. What the definition of a U.S. citizen is. Who are the original first people in this country? Uh, who was here? How the I think I'm talking about how the name America, where it came from. Basically, a lot of us already know because based on the Israelite teaching. And want to talk about how to become a U.S. citizen. What does it mean to be a U.S. citizen? Uh, there are about 13 definitions. Can you be a can you renounce your U.S. citizenship and still receive your Social Security? Um, let's see. Yeah, so we got about 13 points we're gonna look at here based off this conversation that they're having at this table here. A lot of gaslighting is done. I'm gonna show the Israelites what happened to them, what happens to us, what these people feed off, how they feed off of the Israelites saying, look what you done. All this is based on look what you done to the Native Americans and to the Native Americans and pointing toward the Native Americans as the original people of this country, who America set up. I want to say the United Colonies because that was their name before they switched over to the United States. We're going to show you that. The United Colonies changed the name, changed the identity of the people, of the indigenous people, to Psalms 83 to cut us off from being a nation. All of this is the crafty counsel. They tweaked it as they went along. And we want to show you the harm that that does to us. It puts us without an identity when the Israelites point to, the Israelite camp leaders point to those pale-faced Native American, so-called Native American people, and the Latino people as the first people of this land. Because the Latino people and those Native American people who look like Chinese Indians, they know that they are not the first people of the land. They always known it. Since I was a kid, we always knew that they were not. They were Spanish people. That's what they went as. We were Spanish. We what? Now they're saying they're being rounded up and profiled and taken out of their own country when they are not citizens, when they are not the sovereign people of this land. But we gave that to them, our unalienable rights. We gave it away. We don't want it. We did the same thing Esau did. I hope y'all know that. I just thought about that. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We did this. We're doing the same thing. When you say they brought us over here, you don't even know what you're talking about. Most of y'all don't know what you're talking about. When you say the black people were brought here from Africa, you're saying that everybody over here was pale, had white skin, no melanin in their skin. That's what you're saying. Because they are the only people who claim to be original to this land because you gave your rights away, Esau. All you camp leaders followed that guerrilla homosexual dude and helped. I always knew that dude was, I always knew that he was working as an agent for them people. And the story that came out on him from his wives and his best friends proved that he was always working for his mother's side of the family. Like a lot of our Israelites who claim to be Israelites on the father's side, but the mother Edomite, they are really working on. You can't go home to your mother after you talk about her like a dog. Call her devil. She'll spit at your face at the Thanksgiving dinner table. You better not go there for Thanksgiving and Christmas. You can't eat none of her food no more because that Edomite woman is gonna hate you if you put her down like that. So they have to be double minded and double talking and make her feel comfortable as their son again, else they're gonna project a spirit of hate on her, and she'll hate him for that. And you know that Edomite woman will. You put her down like she's nothing. That's your mother. Nobody's gonna do their mother like that. So you gotta be two-faced if you are your father's black and your mother's white. So we're gonna look at this and show you the attitude of these Hispanic people who have no rights of indigenous sovereignty to this land. They have no sovereignty, but I'm gonna show you the damage and they're smart now. They'll usurp your authority and your rights if you don't want them no more. And that's what WFI, ISUPK, Sakari, and IUIC have done. They have given the original people, the Northern Kingdom, and the Jews who is connected to this land, they have given our authority to operate sovereign wherever we are as a people. They have helped to cut us off from being a sovereign nation. Let me say it again. All the Israelite camps that are famous that are saying that Gad was the only people on this land. You are saying that. You only point out Gad and that white nation of Gad, who so-called Gad, in the Native American people. And for Issachar, you point out the white people. When it's clearly, we have videos of the people that we have clear videos of all the people in Issachar that's down there hid in the woods of Mexico, and in America. Issachar is still walking around America that has not been whited out. And they're not speaking Latin. A lot of them are Geechees. A lot of them are still in Louisiana. A lot of them are in California, Texas. And they are not without melanin. Okay? And you have a lot of all those Northern Kingdom tribes that they took off of here. And their ancestors that they took down there in slavery on slave ships to build their empire, the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch. Did you know Eskenazi was down there and got a colony of black people down there? And they living with them like they brothers and sisters. They kept their whiteness, the Dutch, the Germans, the Franks. They're living down there in, I can't think of the name of that town, but they're living down there with the Northern Kingdom blacks who act just like Negro women back in Soul Train days. They dance, the Negro women down there, they dance. They act just like the Negro women here. And they get along good with the Dutch down there. It's almost like they all on a plantation. Okay, but we're gonna look at this video, and then we're gonna show you what's involved in citizenship and your rights according to how you claim your sovereignty. You don't lose nothing, you gain. General Yohana, let's watch.
Tim Black's BS detector.
We do not have unlimited resources.
I think a lot of Americans
to take care of other people.
There's a hell of a lot of people other than the black
Anna.
people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
a
not
lot
the same
different.
Did you hear that? She said there's a lot of other people coming into the land. That argument, he didn't hear what she said, but she said there are a lot of other people that was brought into this, that was other than the black people who were brought into this land. Not talking about them, because she was saying the black people was brought here. But there's other people that are here illegally. Not the black people that was brought here. So she's saying black people was brought here in this America, in this northern kingdom, northern part of the Americas. There's other people that was brought here that are illegal. She was trying to say Europeans, all the Europeans that was brought here on the visa of their founding fathers. The founding fathers was supposed to bring their workers in here and build colonies for them to live. But they were not supposed to take over the jurisdiction of the sovereign people. But he set up a whole de facto government. So that's what she's about to try to talk about. But this idiot, he's such an idiot, and this host, he's no better. These political people are so mixed up. They don't know the simple things I'm about to show you. They do know, but they're paid. Remember, I showed you in one of the other videos that the government was set up to be a state, to create a state of confusion among the people. Democrats argue against the Republicans. That is to really actually, gas is to do a lot of things. Data overload, you just give up. It's so much to try to figure out. You'll never understand this government system, how it works, who to vote for, keep you confused. So you would never unite, the people would never unite and force the government out of power, right? So they keep them confused, and the government know all the things. They sitting back laughing, look at them. They fighting over who to vote for when they all should unite and kick our ass out of here. Remember Bacon's rebellion? They swore that would never happen again. That was when the slave white people and the enslaved indigenous people, who were brown people, they got together and they boycotted the plantation owners, the manufacturers, the rich people, the Eskenazis, right? They boycotted them and shut their plants down. They shut down production because of low wages. They were all married. Europeans was married. It was God's plan. But European women was marrying black men. It was all okay. Then the plantation owner, the slave owner, they were indentured slaves then. He didn't mind, because the more babies, the more slaves he had on his plantation, he didn't care. But they united together in one mind. They fell in love. Their kids were mixed. They called them mixed because, white men were marrying black women too. Remember Pocahontas? Remember that? Okay, so they had become one people. God don't like that. Remember the Tower of Babel? Now, it was okay with modern day Babylon that happened. They was trying to get that to happen over at the Tower of Babel. But what happened is the people went against the rulers. They gained power over the government and they shut them down. But the point I'm making here is this woman here knows that they are the youngest people. The mulatto people are the youngest people on the earth in this country. They have no sovereignty nowhere. That's why you could push them back and forth across the border, because they are Esau's bastard children. Regardless of the tone of their skin, it's the bloodline. And they automatically feel like they've been treated wrong. They had no business staying in the ghetto with these niggas for so long when they know they are white. I'm going to show you in this ratification of their laws and the dictionary, the Webster's 1828. I'm going to show you the definition of all these things. Okay, let's listen to her one more time. Okay.
Her. That's on her. That's who that is. That's her right there. I'm sorry, guys. That's obvious.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
We do not have unlimited resources. I think a lot of Americans
to
take care of other people.
There's a hell of a lot of people
guys.
other than the black people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're not the same as black people who were brought here.
See, he didn't understand. He ran right past the point she was making. But we didn't. We know what she was saying. Everybody else that was brought here is illegal except for the forefathers who signed that Declaration of Independence. And the people, and those people that they had over here, because that's the Constitution, that's the rights of indigenous people, that's the Peace and Friendship Treaty. It says that those people that were creating those colonies that we gave permission to come, that they could bring people over here to help them build their little places up, those 13 colonies up, and not move. They were not supposed to move our people off the land. It was over 300 and something million Indians here, black Indians, Northern Kingdom. Here, when they got here, they were not supposed to enslave them. It was not the Moors' intention for that. They were all running from the Renaissance. They were running from the rulers over in England, who took over Europe, the Dark Ages. After the Dark Ages, all those people were running over here, so-called to practice their religion. But we know that it was a duke. They duped us, and they were really coming over here to take these lands from the Northern Kingdom. If not, why didn't they just come over here and, set up their colonies if nobody was here? These mulatto people damn sure wasn't here. They had to be made by their white forefathers. They had to make another race to fill this land, because they were killing the slaves and had nothing but a 6-year lifespan on them. The people that they could catch, the Northern Kingdom that they could catch and put in slavery, which wasn't working out too good because they knew how to get away and run back to their tribes, run back to the Indian tribes and gather, so they had to move the people off that East Coast out of them colonies, everybody that they could gather up to take the land. They had to move those Indians out. They called them uncivilized. They had to move those out, take them down in the southern part of America, adjoining islands, South America, and adjoining islands, peninsulas, of South America. They had to take them down there because, they was rebelling. Even in Rio, 30,000 slaves, they had generated 30,000 slaves, black Northern Kingdom. Rio was one of the largest slave ports, larger than anything in Africa. Rio was. And those people in Rio, they got to the number of 30,000. They did another Bacon's Rebellion. They generated 30,000, and they rebelled against the slave masters and beat them at war and ran up in the mountains and lived up there for years. And they finally talked them out to come down and join them again and they wouldn't be. We'd get rid of the whips and the chains, and just let's live together and enjoy this land. So they came down. Okay, the white government, the European government, was still in charge over them, though. I bet you that. So you hear what she said. So I'm going to go and show you what the dictionary. First, we're going to start off with what the dictionary says an American is. Who were the first Americans? Okay. Webster's Dictionary, American, is a definition as is defined as American, is defined as a native of America. Notes that the term originally referred to Aboriginal, first people, or copper-colored race found in America, but is now applied to descendants of Europeans born in America. That's the dictionary. That's one of the first dictionaries. It was banned. It was banned out of Florida, this dictionary. Just the little dictionary was banned, right? Okay, we look down here again. America, it's a noun. A native of America, or originally applied to the Aboriginal or copper-colored race found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europe born in America. The name America was always exalt the pride of patriot. Okay? Next, we want to look at America. Where did the name America come from? We all know where that came from. The American is derived from America. American is derived from America, a term originally denoting all of Americas. All of Americas. The northern, the western hemisphere, down in, Floridians, and down in South America, Everglades, and all of that. All that's America. America, the map maker, America Vespucci, in 1451 to 1512. That's when the map maker, he explored, and they named it after him because he found America first, not Columbus. And so they named it after him. Okay, and let's see. What does Webster 1828 define as of a citizen include? Definition of a citizen include. Citizen is a noun, a native of a citizen of a city, or an inhabitant who enjoys the freedom, privileges of the city in which he resides. So you have to reside in a city. You have to say you reside in it. So many years you have to reside in a city. So many years you have to live in a place to become a citizen. You have to buy property. You have to live there so many years. The free man of a city, as distinguished from a foreigner or one not entitled to its franchise. 2, a townsman, a man of trade, or a gentleman. This is the origin of citizen, right? So in other words, Dred Scott. Remember Dred Scott? What was the conclusion of Dred Scott? What was the conclusion of the Dred Scott case?
In the Dred Scott versus Sandford, 1857 case, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that enslaved people, including Dred Scott, were not U.S. citizens and therefore could not sue in federal court.
Missouri's Dred Scott case, 1864, 1857. Its decision, its 1857 decision that stunned the nations. The United States Supreme Court upheld slavery in the United States territory, denying the legality of black people's citizenship. Black people do not have citizenship in this United Colonies, right? In America, and declared the Missouri Compromise to be unconstitutional. I'm gonna show you something else here. So basically, they don't consider us as their citizenship. And there's some other definitions I want to show you on citizenships also. Let's see. Wait just a second. Well, let's go here first. We talk a little bit more about the United States. The United States of America did not initially identify as Americans, right? We saw that. They didn't initially identify as American. It was a gradual process, but people from the United States started using the term American in increasing numbers, especially after achieving independence from Great Britain. After they signed the Declaration of Independence, they got and forming their own nation. The term was formalized in the Declaration of Independence, which refers to the 13th United States of America. George Washington also urged citizens to refer to themselves as American in 1796, his 1796 farewell address. So you see how that they're tweaking it all the time. They see how docile they have created us. They see how they're watching us. They're forming laws, right? They're forming their laws to cut us off from being a nation. At this time, we knew who we were. George Washington, he chopped down the cherry tree. In other words, when he's on the scene, that means they have overthrown the Moorish government. The Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom had government here. The Jews, the Southern Kingdom, they came over here and united with the Northern Kingdom. So stop saying what they did. Look what they did to Gad. The Moors were united and leaders of government because they had just got through under King James running three countries in the Dark Ages for 1,000 years. They were governors. They have always been our governors. Kings, prophets. The priest was the Jews, made up of Jews. Levi, Benjamin, and Judah. They are our governing body. You see what I mean? See what I mean now? These guys, it don't take them much to read this, man. And the more they get on point, the more they going to teach right. And the more the power of the Holy Spirit going to come on us to resist these people and stand up as one group of people. And y'all should learn this stuff, man. George Washington chopped down the church. In other words, they flooded the country. We were sleeping. We were going to sleep. We was in government. It was 5 black presidents in that Moorish government before George Washington. And, he was working. But they finalized it in Abraham Lincoln. Because even with George Washington, there were governors, black governors, Moorish governors, and Northern Kingdom governors. They wore suits. We didn't wear Indian skin. We didn't wear animal skin and stuff like that. We dressed in cotton suits and denim suits. We were in government, in George Washington's government. That's how Abraham Lincoln got, they say, who was black. He was a mixed race, dark skin. He was lighter than the black people and darker than the other mulattoes. He said himself he was dark skinned. Where in the world you get a dark skinned Edomite? Only dark skin you're gonna get is colored people that you ain't calling black. You colored people who was light skinned, Blade Griffin, or maybe a little darker than him, Diana Ross's daughter, you know, they finished him off. Cause he started the Freeman's Bureau, was getting ready to executive order us farm animals to plow our fields with and create our own food sources, our food source. 40 acres. That'll get anybody started. We wouldn't need them no more. They would get ready to make us independent out of slavery. Okay? So yeah. This is something you need to know. To stop teaching that Gad was white and they took Gad's country. Gad and the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom had already joined together over here before Nate and General Yohana and Naquan and Gorilla came together. And I gotta mention you now, Zabak. I don't like to talk about you. You a bad boy. You come with them scriptures, man. You know that book. But I gotta talk to you. You gotta stop teaching that too, man. You gotta stop teaching this too, man. I know y'all don't want to leave out none of our light-skinned Israelites out, but they gonna come in. You ain't leaving them out. They gonna come in. You just can't gather up. You just can't reach and grab the tare. He told you not to weed them out, put them out. He didn't tell you to gather them up either. Y'all gathering up the tare with the wheat. You don't have to gather nobody out. Just preach the word. They'll gather themselves up. They'll come out from among America when their conscience become one with the Most High, when they become one in the Spirit with the Most High in Christ, they'll come back to the teachings. They know who their relatives is, even if they're not Israelites. If they surrender to the teachings of the Most High, you know, you ain't gonna put them out. They're gonna still gather with their own people, but they gonna cleave to us. All right, they're gonna help us out. They're gonna help themselves out, right? Okay. All right, this is real quick here. What happened to the Webster's Dictionary? 1828. All words, definition, and examples have been preserved. In other words, we still got it. I got one sitting on the shelf. But the explanation of words, the origin, the etymology has been left out to make the data easy to use in a digital format. Now, we know that's a damn lie. We know that's a lie. And I'm going to tell you something. If you got the English language, you don't need the Hebrew and Greek. You don't have to go back to the Hebrew and Greek if you understand the English language. But what they was doing, they was cutting us off from the Hebrew and Greek definitions of that Bible when they left the etymology of those words out. Because Webster, he went by the etymologies of these words. He could only get it from the Greek and Hebrew transliteration. That's where he got his definitions from, the Greek and Hebrew transliteration, that Bible that was transferred out of Hebrew and out of Greek and Latin into English, which is made up of Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. Right? So that's what happened to the definition. That's where the definition change came in at. They said, oh, they want digital form. No. You read that Webster Dictionary, you're gonna get all the right definitions of the etymology. Basically the right definition, the etymology of the words that we try to define the Bible with. Now we got to go back into Greek and Hebrew, but it's already translated from the Greek and Hebrew. If you read that Bible all the way through with the Holy Spirit rightly dividing it in your heart and in your minds, same thing, you're gonna understand it. Especially now we lined all the characters up. We know who the enemies of God is. We know who our enemies are. We know what they did, how they stole our identity. We know who the devil is. The Bible's easy to read. Just read it. Okay, now what is the legal definition of a U.S. citizen? A U.S. citizen is legally defined as anyone born or naturalized in the United States, the subject to it and subject to its jurisdiction. Did you hear that? Let's stop right there for a minute. Anybody, U.S. citizen is now, after Dred Scott, a U.S. citizen is legally defined as any legally. That means they made a law. They made their law to bring in anybody they want to bring in. Now they are in charge through their laws of justice. They are in charge of defining what a legal citizen is. Anyone born or naturalized, that means you have to sit through the class. They tell you can't associate with these black people. You can't let them know that they are the indigenous people of this land. You got to keep telling them they was black and brought in here, so they don't have no rights to the land. The 5 tribes, they're white. The 5 civilized tribes, they're white. And they were the ones here first. And the Latino people most of their fathers are Spanish. They're Spain. They come from Spain, but we gonna set y'all above them. Y'all gonna classify yourself as white. And we know the definition of white. It's means that they are legally empowered, indigenous to this land. So being a citizen wasn't enough. They had to give them sovereign power. But here's the part right here: naturalized in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction. You had to make yourself a subject of its jurisdiction. You have to subject yourself to his jurisdiction. He just can't take jurisdiction from you. That's taking your unalienable rights from you. You have to be subject to his jurisdiction. That's why they ask you understand? In the law, they ask you understand? That means, are you subjecting to our jurisdiction? That's why you challenge their jurisdiction. If they try to force a plea on you or make a plea for you or tell you can't, if you need some legal questions asked, you ask them about what jurisdiction are we. Is 2 jurisdictions, common law and maritime or military law. And sovereign citizens are under jurisdiction of the common law, Supreme Court, the federal law. The Constitution is our law. The rights of indigenous people, that's us. Human Rights Association, human rights, we did the video on it. China was defining what the Human Rights Division, world, it's a world organization. It's a world committee and a court that uphold human rights for all people, right? So it told us who could be sovereign in the land. An army that's occupying somebody else's land cannot have sovereign jurisdiction. That means you're stealing the sovereign people's unalienable rights. And even the Most High God, he laid it out in the scripture for us that we would not, he would set only our people to do his bidding and to judge us and to be our governors. Paul said, "Follow me as I follow Christ." So we can only use them for our delegates, especially since the other nations that came over here. They made us a 2-party, 3-party, 4-party state. The United States take up all the jurisdiction, so it's a 2-party state. The sovereign people and the people who have no sovereignty here, but they have their citizenship. They have their colonies. Their United States or United Colonies. You have to subject yourself to the jurisdiction. That's why you challenge their jurisdiction. What is this, common law? Is this criminal court? Common court, criminal court? What jurisdiction? If they tell you it's common, if it's a civil court, then if you don't have anybody standing before you claiming that you with a written affidavit, a sworn affidavit, and somebody claiming, standing there saying, explaining what you did to harm them, then you can dismiss the case. The state cannot represent the injured party. If you don't have an injured party, there's no case. There's no case. They showed you that. China even came over and said, if there's not an injured party, they can't take you to any court. They can't, the state have to have a contract with you. You can't injure the state because the state is not a living person. Only a living person can bring charges to another living person and claim injury. A representative of the state cannot bring charges against a living person because, first place, you can't have a third-party representative, and you can't injure something that's dead, that don't have life. So the state is a made-up construct. It's a corporation, and when they tell you only corporations can only sue corporations, and you got to have a contract between the two corporations. You got to be in your proper persona. You got to say, I'm a person. The state can't, and then the state can't preside over its own injury. If the state claimed that you violated the contract between them, then they have to go to a federal court and represent their case and make their claim in a federal court. They can't be judge and jury of their own injury and have a claim and file against you and then be the judge and the jury. That's a conflict of interest. They're going to side for themselves. So if the state say you injured them, you have to dismiss the case because you're in the wrong court. They can't be judge and jury and injured party. That's a conflict of interest. You got to remember due process. Due process is when you challenge their jurisdiction, they got to prove where they have a written letter from the Department of Justice saying that they have jurisdiction over you. That can never happen when a foreign citizen can never have jurisdiction over a sovereign citizen. That's in the law. We read the law. All you have to do is look this stuff up, man. So the United States can never bring charges against us that we broke their laws, right? They can never do that. They've been doing it all the time. That's why they're fighting so hard to get rid of the law now, because we know it. We woke. We woke. And we're lobbying to govern ourselves as the First Amendment, right? Govern ourselves. We claiming our own sovereignty. Our identity. We can self-identify. Okay. So let's see. 14. According to the 14th Amendment, this means individuals born in the United States or those who have completed the naturalization process after lawful pertinence permanent residents, after lawful permanent residents are considered citizens. Now the United States, remember, they are not real. The United States are united colonies. They only had permission to build 13 colonies and call them their own. And even though they have colonies in different cities, they only have one written agreement for each colony. You can't take the whole state of Virginia or the whole state of New York and call it your territory, because there were people living there when you came there. You can only have your cities. You can where your communities where you are, but this is a two-part. These are two-party states wherever you are. They really wasn't states; they were territories, and our Northern Kingdom had certain territories. We had the biggest portion. They were not supposed to bring and move us out and bring their people in and claim states and draw borders around their territory and claim their territories and enforce their laws. And if you drive through where they say is their territory, then you subject to their laws. That's wrong. If you no, that's taking sovereignty over the sovereign citizens. That's illegal because they're just occupying a certain part of the land. But they move us around like they're sovereign, like they're over us. So, yeah, meaning individuals born in the United States. That means if you're born in the United States, that means your mother and your father went and got a birth certificate from them and Social Security number. That's why the dragon was sitting there waiting in the wilderness to devour us as soon as they gave birth, as soon as the woman gave birth. That's talking about Mary and in the captivity of Rome, in the slavery of Rome with Jesus. They were looking for Jesus to devour him. And that's also talking about the woman, Israel. The mothers of Israel. When they give birth, the dragon is there with that birth certificate, with that citizenship, and forcing them to sign on the line, give them a number, and tag them and claim them as their property. Your mother is doing that. They duped her. They duped all of us. If you don't want this hospital, you want us to take care of this hospital bill and give you some powdered milk and stuff for your baby, give you some WIC, then you gotta sign here. You gotta sign the father's name, who the father is. You gotta give him a government last name, a government name, and a government last name. Who your father's last name all the way back into slavery. And that means you giving them the owner of your father's slavery, the name he took, the name they gave us in slavery. You repeatedly give that name out. That name belonged to somebody else. And on these birth certificates and stuff, you're giving that slave name out. That means you are still under that ownership. And those ancestors are still around. Those white ancestors still claiming jurisdiction over you when you give them names out. Now, if you put on that birth certificate, Yahweh, Yadawa, let's say you're gonna say Yadawa, Yasharella. You ain't supposed to sign a birth certificate, but if you say, hey, I'm not signing no birth certificate, we all know what that means. I'm not claiming jurisdiction. You ain't gonna have that baby in that hospital unless you pay $200,000 or $300,000. So that's how they steal your citizens, steal your jurisdiction over you. although we showed you where they said we cannot be citizens of their colonies. Dred Scott, no black person, no foreigner, no can be, if you're not of their nation, you can't be a part of their citizenship. Their citizenship is only extended to them who swear allegiance to them, pledge allegiance to them. That's what Colin what's his name? Kaepernick. When he kneeled down and he wouldn't swear allegiance to that flag, that's why they keep that above you. You got to keep swearing allegiance to it. You know, you got to keep giving them jurisdiction over you. In your schools, they got you doing it in schools. That means the teacher get to do what he wants to, treat you like a slave. On your job, they got that flag. Military, you got to, swear in. Everywhere you go, you swear. In be a part of their system, you got to swear in. You got to keep agreeing that you won't use your sovereign power against them. You'll keep giving, and it's illegal. How can you give your nationality or your God-given rights away to exist on the earth for some privileges that they give you for being part of their citizenship? We're gonna get on that. We're gonna go through this a little faster, but man, this could be 2 hours. Y'all need to know this. So, okay, you have to complete a naturalization process. Now we really can get into this. After lawful permanent residence, you gotta have a lawful permanent residence. Naturalization process after a lawful permanent residence are considered citizens. Residents, see what I mean? You have to claim that your residence is in one of their states. You gotta say, I'm a resident of this, or I'm a resident of that. But you can also exist in the same geographical location as long as you don't do some of the things that they do to prove that you're a resident. In other words, have them deliver mail to your house. That's one of the ways. You claim your residency through that process. Let's see. Yeah. You say I'm a resident of. You admit out of your mouth. Residence means you are permanently considered one of their citizens that they say you can't be. So really, you just a dog eating crumbs from under the table, right? Right? Because they say you only 3/3 of a man. That means you're not human. You're part corporation. That means they can treat you like, take you in their course and treat you with corporate laws. They can, use their corporate legalese against you. They don't use your sovereign citizenship. They ignore that and put you back under the black code, slave laws, Christian codes, Jim Crow laws. They can make laws up and force you under their jurisdiction. You do whatever they tell you because you won't claim your citizenship. Plaintiff in error. You have to come in your proper person. You are perpetrating the fraud when you use your slave masters' names. And so they don't have to recognize you. Really, you in error and you committing fraud when you go up there claiming to be all caps somebody other than Obed Israel, your government name. Some of y'all know my government name, but I don't, So you naturalize, mean you agree that to their jurisdiction, and you agree that you are a permanent resident of their state, of their made-up state, okay? Birthright citizenship. Anyone within the borders of the United States. Now, where's the borders of the United States? There's only 13 colonies. 13 colonies, they united and called themselves states and stopped using colony. But they don't own all of the state. There's other people living there. They moved them out. That's why they moved. That's why they moved the Northern Kingdom down on those islands. They can only capture the ones that was living in those, from Canada down to Florida. Then they start moving around in Louisiana, Mississippi, and down up under there in Texas and Mexico. They start capturing those people and colonizing, taking their jurisdiction and their rights away, unalienable rights, God-given rights, sovereignty to the land. They gradually took all that. We know that was the will of God. God was letting them build up to their highest point of wickedness. The taller you are, the harder you fall. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. If y'all get what I mean. Born within the borders, where they don't have a border. Now you see how they've moved from birthright citizenship. That means they took over the borders of this country, all the borders, the states. They claim all the borders of everything they've on their imaginary maps. They draw lines. Map makers went in and draw lines. Said, we're going to give you this name, Mississippi. We're going to give you this much land. We're going to get that. And we're going to claim all the borders and everything is ours. We stop people from moving back and forth. We put the state troopers on there. We got sheriffs. We got on the suburbs and outskirts of these little towns where, we're going to put all sundown towns and we control who come in and come out. It took a lot of work, man. It took a lot of work for them to do that. But they had that in plan. Every 60 years, they move. They got a plan. But every 60 years, they implement another part of it. They said, well, did we do this, what we was planning to do in these 60 years and cut these niggas off from being a nation? Yeah, we did that. Now let's implement that part of the plan. They got secret councils. They go in secret rooms. They got videos where they study. How many did we kill with syphilis? How many did we kill in childbirth? How many did we give cancer to? Did we pollute enough food? We got to ease them off. That's the definition of, what was that term? It's a definition the brother gave where you slowly kill your enemy. Because you can't whoop them all out war straight up. If they wake up and start fighting, we ain't going to whoop them. We got to slowly get them off. We make them kill themselves, make them fight against themselves, black on black crime. We, all kind of stuff we use, methods we use, what they call that, eugenics. We're going to use eugenic tactics to slowly weaken them and delete them. That's what they had to do. That's what the peace treaties were about. That's what the Constitution is about. They make us think that they're going to do things the right way. That's what their religion is about. And then they paint Jesus white and change the whole color of God's chosen people, change the whole identity of them. You all know that. So, including its territory and process, some exceptions in the United States currently by birthright. Okay. Let me see if I can go. Let's go here. Birthright citizenship. Okay, United States includes the territory and citizenship by birthright. Okay, naturalization. Let's see if we can get something out of here. Individuals who are not born in the United States can become citizens through naturalization. Okay, we know what that is. You got to have did we just go through that? Basically, it's the same thing. You have naturalization. You have to swear allegiance and denounce your sovereign rights and declare. There's a lot of things you do. You understand their law. That means you will be judged by their laws and not your constitutional rights or God's laws. You won't, challenge their jurisdiction. You'll just, let's see if we can get that out of here. Become a U.S. citizen through naturalization. U.S. citizens. See, that's a code. That's code. They took and United States, they took it down to U.S. citizens. So, they moving from the etymology of what United Colonies. Then they put down. Then they broke it down and had it some more. Had to take over some more of the United States. Then they had it some more and just say U.S. citizen through naturalization. This process involved meeting specific requirements, including lawful permanent residence. That's the main thing they use. If you say you're a resident, they ask you what's your residence. Say, you supposed to say, I don't believe in residence. Residence is still in my sovereign rights. That's all you have to say to these companies. Click up, they're gonna hang up on you, or you ain't gonna get the loan and stuff like that. That's why we got to start supporting each other and supporting our own government, supporting our Israelite government, taking our funds and all putting $1 in and build a supermarket. All of us, 70 million of us, put in $1, or $2, $3, and build a hospital, a little small clinic. Pay the doctor's wages. Well, you pay a little small something when you go in there. He's going to get flooded. He's going to have to hire more doctors. We're going to break their system. We take that $1.7 trillion that we spend in this country every year and give it to our hospitals, our doctors, our prophets, our building our own homes. We don't have to use their money. We can make our own money. Sovereign people can make their own money. Ain't every other sovereign nation making their money? Pesos and yens and, okay, require specific qualifications, including lawful permanent residence, demonstrating good morals, characters, and passing a citizen exam, right? Okay, so all of them should be deported, as it says in the Peace and Friendship Treaty and human rights. People who occupy in your land, who are foreign citizens in your land, if they do not demonstrate good morals, like all these police officers that shooting sovereign citizens, they are supposed to be deported out of this country. You see what they are doing to, they drug dealers, they in a gang, He hit his wife, deport him, take him somewhere and just sit him on an island somewhere. Let's pay somebody else to hold him over there. Kidnapping and all of that. Those people that demonstrate bad morals and characters, and they can't pass the exam because they eat pork, shrimp, and lobster. The bad morals of these doctors, the scientists that's creating all these bacteria and bird flu and bad medicines and taking the seeds out of all the food, taking the taste out of the food, they got to be deported. Why are we still letting them handle our food and stuff? Walmart, Target, all these supermarkets, that's bad character. They use all those GMO products. They know that they taking the nutrients out of our food. They need to be deported, and they descend all our government and politicians. I don't care if it's Jasmine Crockett or whatever, claiming to be. You ain't supposed to be saying you representing us. When you represent the lobbyists, they need to be deported because they are regular citizens. The judges, Supreme Court judges, they are regular citizens because they all broke their oath of office. The police, all the appellate judges, they all broke their offices. Every judge that in all these lower courts put in a plea of not guilty for a defendant, they claim defendant. They put in a not plea for you. They violated their oath of office and violated your due process. They descend to a regular citizen and should be deported for the crime. That's what they are all they're all criminals. Donald Trump, he should not be president. But that's their government. That's what y'all don't realize. He could do whatever the hell he want to do. All we have to do is form our own government, keep the laws, and appoint a leader. Didn't God appoint a king? We need a king not like General Yohana or Nate and none of them captains and shit they got. We need a king like Africa got. We need a king that's going to stand up and get men behind him and lead men and don't care about their life. They care about their people's life. We need that man. That's what it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm saying my buddy always say, Dave, man, he always say it's going to happen. Whatever God said, it's going to happen. I know this big Judah be saying the same thing, man. It's going to happen. Whatever God said, it's going to happen. The prophecy is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's about to happen now. 2nd Ezra 15. I had pulled that out. I ain't going to read it. I ain't going to read it. 2nd Ezra 15. And I think it's started at 18, 16, or somewhere in there, where it talks about what's about to happen in this country, the madness, how they going to be brought down in this country when they start messing with Judah. See, Judah already did their job. They bent the bow. And God bent them back, brought out the law, what we need to do, our identity. And as they start messing with what I call the Northern Kingdom, because the Northern Kingdom is still on this land. They didn't put all of them on slave ships, although it's more brown people down there in South America and the adjoining islands than it is here. They are Northern Kingdom, but they left some here too, and some came back on their own. They generated on this. The Northern Kingdom generated. We in slavery, we in captivity together. But when they start messing with these niggas on this land here, when the police, they gonna get their ass tore up by the hand of God. He gonna put the power, take the fear off us and put the fear on them. And this army, these Northern Kingdoms gonna be the arrows shot out of the bow. Now start messing with them if you want to. Make them have nothing to live for unless they fight against you. That's what they gonna live for, is to stop you. That's what these young soldiers gonna live for. Once y'all get rid of General Yohana, Nate, and some of these other scary cats, man. Nate and them right now, they can't believe what's happening. France, and they got Stone run out of there. Some of them people y'all preaching to is the 2/3. Y'all over there, man, chasing behind them people, gonna make them listen, gonna make them look at themselves as slaves. They don't want to hear that. Some of them people are the 2/3, just like my son now. They don't want to hear that they were slaves and the world coming to the end, and they have a responsibility to be Israelites and come back to the covenant. They not trying to hear that, man. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. Expectations. Okay. There are some expectations to birthright citizenship, such as individuals born in America, Samoa, who are considered non-citizens, nationals. Non-citizen national. Individuals born in foreign diplomatic in the U.S. are also not considered citizens. So, born in foreign diplomat, if you're an Israelite, if you're a sovereign citizen, they consider that a foreign diplomat. If you do not claim jurisdiction, give them jurisdiction over your life, if you don't give them the jurisdiction, you give another birth name and get rid of them legal names, get rid of that legal last name, your slave master's last name that your family been pushing on you for years down through slavery, you're not considered a citizen of the United States colonies. Let's call it what it is, man. Go back to the etymology of it. You're not considered a citizen of their courts, you're not a resident of their fake jurisdiction. You're not considered. There are also special rules regarding children born to parents who are unlawfully present in the United States. So to be, that's a lot. That means a lot. Don't just look at it like being here in this country. You don't have a visa. You don't need a visa to be in your own country. Now, the people that Donald Trump is moving around, now they already had citizenship. Natural citizens. They already claim allegiance to his country, to the United Colonies. They claim his jurisdiction. They gave him jurisdiction. That's why he can move them around when he get ready to. They're under his jurisdiction. He can do what he want to. Those people that was called, they brought over here and made indentured slaves, they treated them like crap, man. And they had to honor their masters. That's why Donald Trump, he know he's their master. They had to do whatever he tell them to do. That's who they set up. That's what they set up, a leader. He don't have to keep the laws, sovereignty laws of this land. He don't have to keep the Constitution. That's not his law. The problem is y'all are subjecting yourself to his jurisdiction. All y'all have to do is say, hey, we no longer part of y'all jurisdiction. Y'all scared y'all ain't gonna get them Social Securities and them, they gonna still need you to work. You just gonna be a foreign citizen, but you ain't gonna have to. You ain't gonna have to work for them because you got too much to do to start farming your own food, raising your own livestock. You got doctors, black doctors. Once we form as Israelites, as a government, do what Hosea saw, then all our people gonna come back together. All of our warriors are playing in that damn NFL, WNBA, NBA, all those Greekish fashion sports. They're all our warriors. All of our greatest and superhero warriors, they got them docile on that camera, hip hop, And then they recruit all our best athletes to opt out of war. We had a war. And they got they paying all our warriors, best warriors, to go sit down and bow down to them. And do whatever this is my daddy. This coach is my daddy. He gonna give me all this money and kill my family. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. So, yeah, they got all our warriors occupied, got them docile, in La La Land, and they don't even know that, we over here, we need them warriors. But God gonna change that too. The Most High is gonna change that. Okay? So your parents are actually unlawful citizens because they know that we are Israelites. We are sovereign to the land. So they know that they cannot claim them as citizens. Now, if you keep coming over there and giving them jurisdiction and letting them rule over you, they're going to rule over you. If nobody going to stand up, you ain't got no government to stand up for you because you won't form your government back. It's our responsibility to educate our kids like I'm doing right now. It's simple. Educate our people so they can be racist, love their own race, and build their own governments up. We got some smart people. Just think if we take all our people out of their science programs and out of their, we invented all our inventions, take our inventions back, and anything we invent, we do it for ourselves, and they can't get the patent on it. They can't come and look at it and see how we did it. We ain't going to train them for no jobs no more. They got to do it all themselves, man. We're going to drop them. Tell them to pull themselves up by their bootstrap. So, okay, we got that. You are foreign. Remember, whether you believe it or not, They know it. You are foreign. You a foreigner. You can't be their citizenship. We showed you Dred Scott case where they told the conclusion of that is when you try to go in and use your sovereign powers in their country, then they say you can only you're not a citizen, you can't use your sovereign laws. We got our own laws. We are sovereign to these united colonies. And that's all we have to do. But we got to have enough people standing up to enforce what our government says. For our laws is God's law. We got God, but we got so many coons and traitors that, God ain't going to make one or two of us go to war against them. It ain't that time yet. It ain't that time. He going to break them down, though. He going to break them down. He going to break them down. He going to break them down. And where we'll have to gather up, they're going to force us out of their jurisdiction. They're going to force us out of their care and take our resources, hoping to starve us, freeze us, dehydrate us to death, to where we start killing each other. And they get rid of it. Like I said, that war strategy, I can't think of the term that they use, but they know what it is. You get rid of your enemy slow. That's the only way they can beat us, is get rid of us slow. That's why they broke all those 400 treaties. Because why would they make a treaty with if they had the gallon gun or whatever? They didn't have to make no treaty if they was beating us. If they brought all the black people over here and they was whooping our backs and had us in slavery, who did they make the treaties with? And we know it was the copper-toned people that was here, or the Indians. They proved that in Hollywood, their first Western movies. I'm way over the limit. Let's get through this. Okay? Let's see, what is this now? What is the original name for the United States? The official name of the United States of America is formally adopted in September 9th, 1776 by the Second Continental Congress. The Second Continental Congress. Continental Congress. Continental Congress. We're going to have to look that up. Y'all look it up. Replacing the term United Colony. See there? A continental colony. That means those people that separated from Great Britain, they came over and they call themselves continental citizens. Continental Congress. There was their own Congress. That's when George Washington took the Congress away from the Moors. That's where we're getting into that. We just be sure. Prior to that, the term was United Colonies prior to that. The name of the territories vary. But the term United Colonies was the common use. You see that? Now, different territories, they was different territories now. Same way the Indians, same way the Northern Kingdom was doing territories. They didn't draw no border around nothing and say, this is a state. Okay? They did that later. Okay? Let's keep looking. What's the difference between America and the United States? This is good too. What is the difference between citizenship and nationality? Citizenship and nationality. Citizenship confers full legal rights and responsibility, right? That's what Dred Scott couldn't get. That's what we can't get, and we keep asking for it. No, you can't get citizenship to a foreign country when you are sovereign to this land. See, y'all think they're all against us. Really, by them not treating us right, that's of God. They think it's racism and fear from them, but that's of God putting that on them, so we will never unite with them. The clay and the iron will never be able to mix. We in the toes and the feet, but the clay and the iron can't mix because of this right here. legal responsibilities. The difference between citizenship and nationality is citizens refer to full legal rights and responsibility. They would never give us that because we are the clay. We can't have full responsibilities. One black president in 200 years. Come on, man. 300 years, one black president. And he wasn't even our citizen. He wasn't a part of our nationality. Nationality indicate legal bond to a country, but does not necessarily include full citizenship right. That's what the people that go to this United States colony, they have a bond with you. If you vote, if you take up residence and claim them and give them a jurisdiction over you and follow their laws, Nate, you're joining yourself to a heathen, in contract with a heathen nation. Now y'all supposed to be so smart, but y'all don't know none of this. Now we're gonna keep your laws. That's what you're doing. You're in contract with the devil. It ain't a damn thing funny about that. Y'all sitting up wondering why France is doing this and France, they gonna make, now we thought we was gonna conquer the world. We thought cause they rocked us and stoned us. That's so embarrassing. It make it look like God ain't with us. Yeah, he ain't with you. He with you, but he trying to get you to do the right. I've been teaching y'all that. Y'all thought I was some YouTube prophet, YouTube fake. But if you got the Holy Ghost, he will rightly divide his word in you. You'll see what he meant. And what Hosea saw is that we were going to leave their jurisdiction and form our own government. And it's going to be one man. I don't know if it's one man with every group of people. Is one man going to lead the charge at that? I don't know who it is. Maybe Nate and Jill and Johanna can work together. Maybe they'll come back to their senses and it'll be a group of 12. All, the captains and all, join together in one mind. And one man step up and say, I represent all of these men and their families. And this is what they want. A real government. Not a democratic. Democratic, some people win, some people lose. A republic government means we all follow God's laws. We all gonna win. We represent the Most High. We appointed him and his governor. But we all got to appoint Christ as the head of our life. We know that. But it's gonna be somebody down here on earth that's gonna be bold enough to stand up and say, hey man, I'll stand out front. Y'all just back me up. The best spoken man, it might be me. I don't want to, but if he put me there, I'll do it. It don't take much, but to know this, and I need you guys with them scriptures behind me. I'm getting old, but I need y'all to be able to bless. Whoever the leader is gonna need somebody else to bring them scriptures out to support. You're gonna need somebody to step up. You're gonna need a man with the law that know that law to step up with you. And all the people going to step behind him. He's going to be the leader that step up and say, we ain't taking this shit no more. We got to follow God rather than man. And then you need to bring them scriptures out. Explain his sovereignty. We understand everything y'all done set up. Thank you. Thank you. And they've been doing it too. They've been forcing you. You can't be. They ain't been treating you like no citizen, all the privileges and rights. And you want, no, we just want to be equal. What the hell I want to be equal with somebody lower than me for? No, I don't want to be equal. I want the position God gave us as Israelites. Okay. To become a U.S. citizen through naturalization, most lawful permanent residents, green card holders, generally need to live in the United States 5 years. However, if you are married to y'all know that, green cards and all of that. That's for the terror. That's all. That's for the terror, man. People that agree to help steal the sovereign rights of the indigenous people in the northern and southern kingdom, right? People that will agree to gaslight us and come over here and say, well, they brought you. Here it is, the mulatto ladies saying, they brought y'all over here. So that was your ancestors. That was the Tiano and what's that? Tiano Indians, the Issachar. The real Issachar was brown. They still down there. They look more like Mexicans than the Spanish people do. The brown Mexicans, the dark melanated people down in Mexico, we got videos of it. We can find them. They look more like Mexicans than who y'all calling the Latino people, the Mexicans. Those people look more like Issachar. The brown Afro Issachar look more like Issachar. The white Mexicans look like Spaniards. Now you tell me, how could that happen? 5 years, however, if you are, okay, we know that. So that green card and stuff, that's to bring those people call themselves white and daddy Spaniards. Y'all got to get cards to come back and forth across that border. And then the true ancestors of the Northern Kingdom, who they have down below us, they won't even let them over. Hades, brown skin, whatever. They ain't dark brown skin, melanated people. Y'all can't come to America no more. So that lets you know who they are. Then what is my nationality if I'm white? Okay, listen to this. We've been telling you this. White. The category white includes individuals who identify with one or more nationalities or ethnic groups, originating in Europe, Middle Eastern, people who say they came from Europe, Middle Easterns, that's who they call Middle Easterns, that's who they try to say Jesus is, because if they say he's Middle Eastern, they're still saying he's white. Y'all got it now? And we are adamant as saying, no, he ain't from no Middle East. There ain't no such thing as the Middle East. North Africa, Canaanites, Egyptians, Ham, anybody that's Ham, the people that rocked IUIC, the people threw rocks at them, they claiming their white citizenship. They taking the United States stand. They know that how they nationalized. They had to run them out to keep their citizenship and their faithfulness to being white. You see that? Germany, Italians, Lebanese, Cajun, Chaldeans, they white. Soviet, Russia. Iranians, Arabs. Told you the Arabs was white, didn't I? I tried to tell somebody them Arabs are white people. They're Europeans. The bloodline is European in the Arab. Because Abraham's son, Ishmael, was brown, man. He's melanated. Ishmael was melanated. French, Polish, Egyptians. Look at that, Egyptians. They claim they already took Egypt. They cursed. They took their land and put white people in there. And those people are white, Irish and English. Okay. All right. Can you legally live in the United States and not be a citizen? This is a good one. Yes, it's possible to legally live in the United States and without being a citizen. Why? Well, how does that even happen? Dred Scott, you all go back to Dred Scott. You can have some privileges and be loyal to them. It's like that secret treaty of Verona I was telling you about. You can get all the license they tell you to get and do everything according to their law. Nate and General Yohana have a contract with them to do business and respect it, understand their law, and not use your sovereignty against them. then you can live in the United States. That means you can enjoy the privileges, some of the privileges that they give their citizens, but you're not a citizen. That's a perfect example. Non-U.S. citizens, Israelites, can obtain legal residency. You can say, I'm a residency, I buy a home, and my residency just keeps saying residency. That's not a real, that's not real. Ain't nothing real about residency. That's corporate. That's a corporate construct. That's a construct. The idea of residency, you live in, that's not their land. There's no such thing, there's no literal thing of a residency that's made up, that's just a term they use. It's not a geographical location, right? It's a made up construct. Because you got non-citizens that live in New York, non-U.S. citizens that live in New York, but they still, geographically, they are Moors, they are Israelites. They live in the same geographic location as the black citizens, free man and the slave. The free man and the slave, remember that. The free man and the slave. I recognize your laws and your jurisdiction over me, the slave. The free man is the Moors and the Israelites, like myself, that claim, that challenge your jurisdiction, and you know, they don't have a residency. I'm not under. I don't claim residency. You know. So yeah. Various pathways. Let's see. Obtain green card. You get a green card. You know. Obtain legal residency through various pathways. So, you know, you have to ask and go through the pathways to claim residency. The residency is the main thing. Okay? Green card, which grants them the rights to live and work permanent in the U.S. Additionally, they can enter the U.S. Okay. So when you say enter the U.S., that's an imaginary territory. Because they claim all the geographical locations on this continent as their U.S. Territory. But it's not. The geographical locations they claim is where they live and where they hold jurisdiction. You can challenge their jurisdiction in any court and any law that they make up and try to force you to keep. And they have to show you who gave them jurisdiction over the land, and they had over that land and over you. And they cannot show you that. Because only God can give jurisdiction. And you have to claim to be their citizen and surrender to their jurisdiction for them to have it. In other words, you got to be dumb as hell. And if you're dumb, you ain't even going to challenge their jurisdiction. If you challenge their jurisdiction and don't know what it means and don't know the next step, they're just going to lock your butt up and throw away the key, man. Because they know ain't nobody coming for you. You know, you don't know how to argue the point. So don't take this as legal advice. It's not legal advice. This is your God-given rights I'm showing you. And then as you understand God's laws and understand what freedom is and understand the Most High God and his civics that he teaches you how to treat each other. You do that and understand that and start treating your brothers and sisters right, then your government is going to form, man. It's automatic. It's automatic. We got to treat each other right, though. And it's in the Bible. And that's how they know, that's what they're getting scared of now, because we start treating each other right and looking at each other as sovereign, as Israelites, as God's chosen people, as better than all the people on the earth. We taking our position back in our hearts and minds. So that's what God wants. He want that. You think he don't want that? Oh, you think he want us to keep giving them jurisdiction, just forget about him raising us up above all the nations? That's his intention, for us to be above all the nations. That means keep the laws that make us better than them. Keep his godly laws, follow him, honor him, trust him. That's what make us better than all the nations. I hope y'all know that. Let's look at this. I think, who can not become a U.S. citizen? This is good too. Who cannot become a U.S. citizen? Criminal records. Donald Trump is not. They claim he can't be he can be a U.S. citizen. See, they changed the law. This is all messed up here. But basically, who cannot be on this continent? Who can we move off of this continent and take back, deport off of this continent? The sovereign people with the sovereign law. Who can we deport? People who do criminal acts. They can be deported. They can suffer a fine. They can suffer the death penalty if they do crimes and support as a unit crimes. Police, killing people, shooting people. Now, I'm not saying do it, but this is what God is going to do. He holding the whole damn race accountable. If you've been voting and if you've been supporting this system and propping this system up, holding us in captivity, he holding the whole damn race accountable. I didn't do it. My granddad did it. You shouldn't be here then. You shouldn't be voting. You shouldn't even be occupying this land, because your occupation in this land is helping them to achieve their military goal, right? You helping them to achieve their military goal is to outnumber us, so we can't gather together, so we'll be in fear. And so if something jump off, when we vote, we can't never get our votes to go through. They outnumber us 3-1. And they know how to be cohesive when it comes to keeping us on the bottom. When they have to unite together, they could be in the biggest war against each other, Democrat, Republican. When they come to unite in that Senate and House, they're gonna unite them laws. They're gonna unite regardless, because they know they got to keep us. Their job here in their government and the police and military is to keep us from taking this land back from them, taking our jurisdiction. We'd just be happy if they just stay on their side and we stay on our side. But they know us uniting together, they have to keep us divided in order to defeat us. They got to use us to help them get rid of us. Because we weaken ourselves, man. We weaken ourselves, man. Fighting against each other. Let me see. If you have been convicted for murder, all them police officers, they're not convicted. We convict them. We are the law of the land. If we say it was a bad kill and they wasn't fighting for their life, they wasn't doing nothing for hurting us. I mean, they wasn't doing nothing but murdering us at any time or of any other aggravated felony. Any other aggravated felony, they do them all the time. They do it all the time. They attack our little children. Grown white women attack our little babies and call them names and assault them. Assault our children in these high schools. You walk up on them and push them and hit him. You supposed to be deported. I don't care if you did get hurt in the conflict. You started it, and they should deport you and your whole damn family. Other offenses may temporarily bar the naturalization. They can't be here. Let's see. Here's the last one here. Thank you, guys. Can you collect Social Security if you renounce the United States? That's why Donald Trump Uh, we have renounced citizenship, which we never had. And that's why he said, okay, you don't want to be a part of this, my citizenship, my jurisdiction. We're going to start deporting you. We're going to send our police on you to shoot you down, kill you. We're going to take the Social Security benefits that you worked and use your energy to make the products that they profit off of, and took your Social Security for money to support people who are too old or hurt, get hurt, and can't work anymore. We're going to give them this Social Security money, which was generated basically by the working class, which would be the Israelites, Northern and Southern Kingdom. We worked 500 years for free. We already got money in that Social Security. We supposed to get money if we never work again for you. You got all the profits from our trillions of dollars. You took all the profit. Okay? So, yes, renouncing U.S. citizenship generally does not affect your eligibility. But you see, they can do something, man. They can, we need to trust in God and stop depending on them paper dollars they got. We got to hurry up and come out from among them and stop eating them crumbs from their table. Well, right now, no, you can renounce your citizenship because you paid in this is proof again that the Social Security benefits has nothing to do with any free giving away money from the U.S. citizenship, from the U.S. colonies. United Colonies, they gave us nothing. Benefits, if you have earned at least 40 credits, approximately 10 years of work. Yeah. No, we got 500 years, man. So yeah, y'all scared if I say I'm an Israelite, they're gonna take my Social Security. You ain't gotta say, don't say it loud. You ain't got to let them people know what you're doing at all, as far as who you think you are and who your nationality is. We gotta keep that a secret. You ain't even gotta let nobody know, man. Don't let nobody know. That's what they're afraid of now. We all gonna claim our identity back secretly. So they don't know who. Well, just like we walk out and we don't know which one of them is good white people, which one of them gonna do us harm. So we gotta distrust them all. That's how they doing us now, because the message is out there that they are the devils of the earth. They are our enemies. They're harming us in every way they can. They lie. They try to cheat you out of every little dollar. So yeah, keep your mouth shut and claim your identity and start keeping these laws and commandments of God and watch God work. If y'all want to work, y'all want them to be brought down, and when you don't have to do no work but keep the laws and let God bring them down, like that's what's going to happen anyway. But y'all prolonging it, man, by not coming back to your nationality, coming back to your covenant with God. God got to shorten the time. That's what he's doing with Donald Trump. He's shortening the time, man. He gonna take care of you, but you gonna have to. He gonna hear you holler and cry. But that's cause y'all don't want to come back to God's laws and commandments. So y'all gonna have to holler and cry and be tormented and tried and tortured. Esau said he gonna torture you. Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd chapter. Let us oppress the righteous man, the poor and righteous man. He said, let's oppress them. That's God's will. He's shortening the time because, our people ain't felt no pain. The slaves did, you can't keep going on that. You're going to have to feel some pain to come out of this damn Babylon. To take your thoughts and your hearts away and your treasures away from Babylon and lay up your treasures in heaven, which is your nation. All right. So all praises to the Most High. Let's see.
That's odd.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
We do not have unlimited resources.
I think
in
a
this
lot of
country
Americans.
to take care of other
There's
people.
a hell of
We
a
have
lot
our
of
own
people,
people
other than the
first,
black
Anna.
people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
A lot
not the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against
That's
our will.
exactly what I
They
just said.
decided
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot of
across the
people.
border.
Hold
There's a
on.
big
All right. See the silly argument. They they can't even understand what each other's saying. Okay. So that's the argument of the government that keep us off guard, keep us data overload, keep us not knowing what to believe in. So all praises to the Most High. Thank you guys tuning in.